So Chris, obviously we're talking about pivoting, which is everyone's least favorite word. But you know, obviously you guys, this has been a crazy year for everyone, and a lot of people have been, you know, down, and we've seen the numbers earlier. But you guys have actually, seen a lot of success this year, and it's because of pivoting, correct? So maybe you can, like, just to start out, walk us through what you guys did. I mean, obviously there's PPE, but it was more than just PPE. So what did you guys do to pivot this year?
Yeah. Well, good question, thanks. And yeah, and everybody's sick of the word pivot, right? So let's call it what it is. So what we did was, obviously during those last slides, you saw what's happened is there's a new category that's been created, right? The PPE category. So we recognized this real quick and easy. So we didn't pivot. We introduced a new category, a new product line to our clients, right? So I think that's where we went to, because we have the infrastructure, the personnel, the supply chain in place in order to, on a daily basis or pre-pandemic, provide great service, great product to our clients and give them what they want and need. So this just happened to be obviously a very unique situation, a different situation than I've always been in, but we did pretty much change course and give the trendy item or the new category to the client. So we're still providing the great service that we did. But in saying that, we also, during the time, created very different contacts and new contacts, whether they were municipalities, states, governments, etc. So what we did was literally, I think it changed within less than 24 hours, is when we were watching the news and I saw Governor Cuomo in New York really complaining and like, we need help, we need help. And I said, wait a second, we can help. We have the infrastructure, we have the contacts in place. So that was a Friday night. And then Saturday morning, I literally emailed chiefs of staffs of all different states and everything. And I remember jumping up and down. I got an email back from the chief of staff, and I had a conference call 20 minutes later. 15 minutes after that, signed the contract. And on Sunday, we had our first purchase order, which is a massive purchase order for 3-ply masks, N95s, and some sanitizer. And then we're off to the races. So from there, what we did was have our staff really start contacting all of our clients. Number one, are you okay, right? First and foremost on the human element. And number two, we're here if you need us. Everybody's in this crazy situation. Nobody knows what's happening. We are here if you need us, and we can provide the items that are in demand at this point. So that's kind of how it all started. And then from there, we just kept going and introducing new services. And I said, well, everybody's stuck in their houses. Let's, like everybody, kidding. Let's create some kits, and not branded, and it didn't have to be branded. And I really was pushing, let's not do branded. Let's do, coffee kits. People are out of that, or fun puzzles and games to play with their kids and interact with their families. Because again, this is a human element. This is a human situation. This is not a you don't need a branded mask when you're stuck in your house in lockdown for 2 to 3 months, right? So we were just trying to find ways in order to help our clients get through this challenging time, and also the uncertainty. So it was more on a fun aspect. So that's kind of both ways that we introduce new category to our clients.
Yeah. So I think you also had mentioned to me previously that you guys added a lot of technology during this time, invested in technology.
Yeah.
So what things did you do there?
Yeah, we already had some very good technology infrastructure in place. Some of the industry standards, but also Box and Slack and some project management tools that we've already used. But now that we were all dispersed in different areas, different places, I said, well, we need to communicate better, not only just on the computer, but how about on the telephone, right? So we introduced a brand new software system, which is basically a telephone software system, but it integrates the Zoom technology into it. It integrates the Slack technology where, the instant messaging, and also integrates project management tools. So now we have a comprehensive basically software which you can get on any device, your computer, your laptop, your cell phone, any device. Now you can make calls through the app, through your phones, but also you can even call right through your computer. Yep. So Yeah, it's just a great technology, more of the connectivity while everybody's in remotely.
Right. Well, I think it's also interesting because so many people during this time are cutting people, cutting, services, but you're, investing. So it's like a different strategy than perhaps, people would think of automatically. Um, so why do you think you guys were able to make that pivot so quickly and add these new services?
Yeah, well, there wasn't any other option, right? I mean, it's pretty simple for me. It's black and white. In business, you have to be able to change courses quickly in order to be effective because trends come and go, especially in our industry. We know everybody and their grandmother had a fidget spinner. Where
I
are
knew
they
you were
now?
going to go there.
Right. They're gone, right? They're
Yeah.
gone. But if you don't act fast, and if you put them on a container and get them here in 120 days, the trend could be gone. So
Right.
really, in order for us to be successful during this time, where everybody else, it's kind of like Warren Buffett. When everybody's running from the market, you buy. When everybody's in the market, you sell. Same type of thing. I've been prepared for a downturn. We've had 12 years of a great economy. There had to be something that was coming up. So I was prepared for that. I run a very tight ship here, and so we didn't have an option. We had to pivot and we had to do it. Really, at the end of the day, there was no other way. And for me, I make quick decisions. I make them fast in order to be effective. Do they all work? Absolutely not. But who cares? It's better than the alternative, right? You
Right.
know, you don't fail at anything unless you stop.
Yeah. We have a quick question from Claudia. She wants to know what was the name of the technology that you invested in? I think the phone technology.
Oh, Ring Central.
Ring Central. Okay.
Yep.
Is that's not like the Ring doorbell, is it? No.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Something totally different. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries.
I think something else you had mentioned to me was that during this pandemic, you had some time to kind of step back and do some like top line thinking to help you guys move into the future. So can you talk about, the importance of that? Because I think, that's something that so many people don't have time to do, or they don't make the time to do it. So why is it important to take that step back?
Yeah, so I'm guilty as well. Pre-pandemic, I'm so guilty. We've been on fire for a long time, and I'm an operator. I love to be in the trenches. I love to be in the front of the clients. So I'm so guilty of this. Like, just hey, there's 24 hours in a day. You can't take a couple hours to really think about this. Where after the mayhem of the first initial wave, the March, April, May, I had some time to really think and say, okay, we just changed courses really quickly, and it was, Q2 was the best quarter on record for our company. So what else? Now let's look down the road, because I'm all about consumer behavior, what's happening, and consumer behavior really was expedited by at least 5 years to what happened. Especially, I mean, my parents even ordered something online, which never had, didn't even know what a
Right.
computer was. So it really, I took a step back and looked at the bigger picture on a macro standpoint rather than just in the now and a micro, kind of from the clouds rather than being on the ground and being on the operational standpoint. And I said, okay, well, if this happens now, this is going to change the dynamic in the future for consumer behavior. Experiences are different. Workplaces will be different. So how can we now help our clients in more than just promotional products and branded
Mhm.
merchandise? Really, how can we do that? Because there's no water cooler talk anymore. You can't go, so hey, Joe, who did you use to design that logo? Joe's at home and so are you, right? So in the hybrid model that will be here, the offices are 100% in need and will be going forward. But, so what we did was I basically said, okay, we're talking to marketing, advertising people, event people, and, half the times, and probably everybody on this listening, how many times you get a logo and say, this can't be embroidered. There's no chance. This can't be, right? Because they're not thinking on a 360-degree standpoint of your marketing. They're just thinking this will look amazing digitally or
Right.
on paper, right? So we've added a lot of created services, not in addition to just strictly creating merchandise, but creating total brand identities, awareness, e-com platforms, which we're already in before, but now we took it a step further. And now we have full retainers from companies within literally the last 2 months to take their e-commerce to a particular level, and their social media as well. Because of the people I hired in the past, I guess 3 months now, time flies, but we've added people to our staff in order to support what I'm thinking going forward, in order to generate more revenue from existing clients, right? Because that's how we always have to find a new way. And then also, how do we attract different clients in this thing, which in turn will lead to our core competency, which is branded merchandise.
Right. But offer them all of those things that are kind of related to the branded merchandise, but all those other advertising and digital tools that they need.
Yeah.
Now you'd mentioned before about the PPE. You got it sounds like a lot of brand new people that you haven't worked with before. Are you guys doing things to try to keep them beyond the pandemic? Like, how do you keep them as clients going forward?
Yeah, that's so I call them COVID contacts.
Yeah.
Right? So, right, it really pushed, word spreads quickly that you can get stuff, right? So I was getting calls from people all over the place, even big brands that had inventory sitting there and didn't know what to do. So my long-term strategy, and we just kind of implemented this recently, is let me talk to again, I'm categorizing them as COVID contacts just for conversation, but how do we convert them into traditional promotional product, brand and merch, right? So I'm working on a very, very large deal right now from one of those in a category that I never thought I would be in ever. But again, it's really now where we can, because of the timing is fine. No one's panicking anymore. We're understanding what this is, and we're all kind of living with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I can have a business conversation with them, rather than just, hey, do you need help to help people, right, in
Right.
need?
Right.
So now it's like, okay, listen, we've gotten through the noise. What do you actually do? Is there something that we can work together and help on? And that's really coming to fruition. So I see Q4 as an amazing time to convert a lot of those contacts that we
Right.
made during this time. And I think 2021 is going to be a crazy great year.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense because you showed them at like the hardest time that you could be there for them. So now that things are getting back to normal, why wouldn't you still be able to still deliver, when it's, presumably
Right.
a little easier than it was back then?
Yeah, anytime you try to get an opportunity or to win business, because everybody is, buying product from somebody already, right? No one's
Right.
out there unless it's a startup and you've never done it. But how do we convert them? But they always will give you a project that no one else can do, right? In normal times, like, hey, try this. And you're like, well, this is just a setup to fail, right? So, but this was a totally different, this was the biggest stage that we've had in a lifetime. And now we proved to them when everybody else couldn't really. I mean, there's so
Mhm.
many horror stories out there. And so that really helped me as a human being and our staff as a human being, right? How did we work through this time, and how were we effective? And we delivered what we said. And if something was going to happen, when things got stuck in customs, which they all did,
Mhm.
we were very transparent with them. So it just showed honesty and integrity.
Yeah, which are things that I think Peter Shankman talked about before as well. So we have another question. How do you prefer to access the information you need from suppliers? Things like inventory availability, imprint information, shipping information, etc. And this is a question from Scott.
Okay, how do we access inventory levels?
How do you prefer to access the information you need from suppliers?
Oh, that's a good question. I wish my entire staff was here. I think right now they are doing, because the major suppliers have invested heavily into technology, which is really, really great to see.
Mhm.
So their number one way is online on the websites. But if it's a really time consuming or a time sensitive project, I know they'll look at the website plus call.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to back it up with that old-fashioned call.
Yeah.
I think we have gotten, yep, I think our time is up now, but it was so great to talk with you today, Chris. It was really informative, really great. And I think now we're going to head back to Andy and Michelle.